Hey guys, what's going on? Inception here, and welcome to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a formation guide for the 4-1-2-1-2. Now, as you guys know, when I do these formation guides, I don't always want to just specifically give you guys a tactic or formation that is the quote-unquote meta for everybody. This is like an everybody thing, whether you play narrow, whether you play wide, this is the one meta in the game. In my opinion, right, when it comes to formations and tactics, and just like I did for the 4-2-3-1, the 4-3-3 false 9, I tell you guys how a formation is going to play based off of the players that you have in your club, okay? So, for this video, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be checking out the 4-2-2, what makes it good, what makes it potentially bad in different scenarios, right? So, for me, in regards to what I use on the pitch, these are my tactics, right? I have my defensive tactics on balanced with 4 width, 4 depth, and then I have my offense on possession-based attacking playstyle with 4 width and 2 for players in the box. Now, the reason why it's like this, guys, is because this right here fits my playstyle, right? It fits what I want my players to do. It fits what I want my players to do on the pitch in regards to certain movements, staying back, pushing forward, all that fun stuff, right? The generic thing that people have been doing for the 4-1-2-2 is the basic, right? So it's basically like a 5 and a 4, so 5 for width, 4 for players in the box. And then the instructions for the players are usually stay back while attacking for the fullbacks, or balance, depends on the person. The CDM is usually on stay back while attacking, cut pass lanes, cover center. The center mids are actually untouched, right? So it's just balance with cover wing on the cards. The cam is on stay forward. And then the strikers are usually on like a get in behind, stay forward, or just a get in behind without the stay forward, right? So you can see that both of these strikers are on get in behind. So this is what people have been mostly doing for the general experience of using this formation for the most part, and it's usually what everybody has been using. Now, it's okay to start off your formation this way, right? But as you are playing the game, as you are positioning players in certain areas, right, you notice what you want in your team, whether you want to be more defensive, whether you want to be more attacking, whether or not you actually want your strikers to get in behind because you play with your midfielders a certain way. All of that stuff is very important. So let's get started with the generic stuff, right? So stay back while attacking on the fullbacks, I feel like is a very important thing this year because of the fact that, you know, exploiting the fullback area, running in behind the defense is such an overpowered thing this year, where when people make those runs in behind your defense, they can just do that, basically the finesse cross where they hold R1, RB, cross it into the 18-yard box, and score those opportunities. So that's why I feel like the stay back while attacking for the fullbacks is very important. Now, there is another way of looking at fullbacks in regards to the 4-1-2-1-2. You could play them on balance, and what balance does is that it offers you this extra width on the sides when you are attacking a certain way. So let's just say, for instance, you are an aggressive attacker, right? You don't really like to cut back and pass it to your midfielders. You really want to push the attack with skill moves, you know, the fake shot acceleration, the new R1 double tap where it kind of like pushes the ball a certain way. If you are an aggressive attacker, usually having your fullbacks on balance is an ideal thing for you to do because you want that extra width. You want those players to really commit forward. And again, this is based off of personal preference. In my opinion, when it comes to the fullback area, I think it's very important to have pace, dribbling, and defensive stats for both of these players, right? So for me, in regards to cheap options, we got Jesus Navas and we got Renan Lodi, right? So if you take a look at both of the cards in regards to what they offer in game, they offer that balance in regards to being as responsive as possible, right? Because look at Renan Lodi's dribbling stats, base card stats for defending, and pace stats, right? This is the cheaper variation of a fullback you can get that will be able to offer those types of things for you. And then it's a very similar situation to Jesus Navas, where Jesus Navas has the pace and the defense to be able to track back and move into certain areas. And the cool thing with a player like Jesus Navas is the fact that he has 4-star skill moves, which is actually incredibly helpful from time to time for like heel to heels or whatever, because sometimes he kind of rotates as a fullback or as a center mid, depending on the situation of your team, because sometimes players occupy certain positions, so Jesus Navas will switch. For instance, if I'm using a 4-1-2-1-2 and I notice that my fullback is at a position on the balance instruction, my CDM sometimes by default will actually go and occupy those positions to cover that space. And when that happens, a player like Jesus Navas will start to go into the midfield and occupy that space, right? So that's what happens when you're using balance instructions on a fullback. Again, for me personally, when it comes to using the 4-1-2-2, I think having your fullbacks on stay back while attacking is ideal, because you could just use the in-game tactic of attacking fullbacks to make them actually push forward. Now, in regards to the CDMs, I think it's very important to have, again, a player that is agile, moves across the pitch really quickly, and that can pass and dribble the ball by default, so that when you give him a shadow chemistry style, he's an absolute monster. For instance, De Jong for this weekend league was absolutely brilliant for me, because he offers all those characteristics and then some, right? Like, even when he has to do stuff with his left foot, he's fantastic at doing it. I think the generic tactic to usually give the CDM is to give him cut pass lane, stay back while attacking, and cover center, because you always want that one midfielder to stay back while attacking, while, you know, whether you choose to be more defensive or more attacking oriented, your center mids make those forward runs, which is a very, very important thing to think about when using these types of players in your team. Now, for me, Frankie de Jong on cut pass lane, stay back while attacking, cover center, I think it's the one that most people should use. Now, it's a little bit different when it comes to the center mids. People like to use cover wing for the center mids because of the way that they attack, right? So when you're on cover wing, defensive position, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's only for the defensive position. Sometimes it actually means that they attack the sides more often in regards to pushing forward. If your strikers and your cams are set up a certain way, they will actually do that often and not really, you know, go and make those middle runs that often. I've noticed that a lot when I have these players on cover wing. On the balance instruction, they will often push forward more than they'll actually be more defensive, which is something that you have to notice. Now, for me personally, and the way that I want to play and the way that my defensive tactics are set up, I like to have my center mids on stay back while attacking, cover center for both of them, right? Everything is based off of everybody coming back, and it's not for a more defensive presence. It is for both. It is for me being able to defend better and me being able to attack better, because I attack better when people are actually close to me for the 4-1-2-2 variation. It's a little different for the 4-4-2 because of the way that you build up the play, but for the 4-1-2-2, I actually don't like my strikers to be on stay forward. I want them to come back because of the way that I want to progress with the play. When I win possession of the ball, right? For me personally, because I have my tactics on possession-based playstyle with 2 for players in the box, players come close to me to offer that support constantly. So if someone is using like the team press instruction on me, even though team press is still incredibly effective and sometimes it breaks your attacking AI, it's actually very helpful for me to have all the players really close to me, because their instructions is to be close to me. Because defensively, the strikers don't really do anything for you. It's just that they stop at a certain line inside the pitch where they're just kind of like, you know, hey, give me the ball so we can kind of transition with the play going forward, right? So this is why I switched my offense to possession-based 4-2, because my play style and the way that I want my players to be positioned in the defense and the attack is very important for this and for the 4-1-2-1-2. I also have it set to the 4-4 for depth and width, because I want to be able to block the middle as much as possible, because as I was playing the games, I always noticed that my middle, or the middle of my pitch, was always open, and I really didn't like that, and that was because the center mids were on cover wing. Now, again, this is completely based off of personal preference of how you want your players to move. In my opinion, when I put these guys on stay back while attacking cover center, if you guys watch the Foot Champs highlights, it doesn't actually mean that they're always staying back while attacking in cover center. Because let's just look at the variables of the cards that we have on the pitch, right? We have someone like Renato Sanchez, who is a high work rated player. Let's just say, for instance, I were to put Dembele as my cam and then Gelson Martins I switch with Renato Sanchez. Look at the balance that I've now created in my team, right? If I were to put both my center mids here on stay back while attacking cover center, these players will play to their characteristics, right? So because they have the high work rates, they will still attack. And you will see that in the Foot Champs highlights. When they see the space, they will attack. I like them to not be on balance instructions in the attacking areas, because balance instructions, I feel like they overcommit too much, because that's not the playstyle that I want, right? Because these guys are on stay back while attacking cover center, my playstyle is to go to the wing, cut inside, play with my midfielders. That's what I want to do. Again, it depends on what you want to do. Sometimes you're really aggressive and you really push forward. It's just not something that I want my players to do on the pitch. So stay back while attacking cover center. The players will play to their characteristics. If I had another player that was on medium high work rates, then he would be more defensive and he probably wouldn't really be able to attack that often. Like if I had like the Blaise Matuidi card on stay back while attacking cover center, probably not going to attack as often as someone like Renato Sanchez and Gelson Martins, who are both, I believe, high in work rates. I think Gelson Martins is also. The reason why I'm switching that's because Gelson Martins in the cam position is kind of disappointing. I feel like Dembele is unbelievable to have up top in the attacking position. So with Renato Sanchez, high work rates, Gelson Martins, high work rates, definitely works really well in the midfield area because you have a defensive presence with Renato Sanchez always, but then you have this extra attacking presence in regards to using Gelson Martins there, while my attack consists of players like João Felix, Ansu Fati, and Dembele. So you got a combination of pace, skill moves, and just a bunch of different variables, which works really well for me. So, yeah, that's what I got to say about the center mids, right? Your cover wing tactic also affects if you actually have attacking fullbacks as well. So if your attacking fullbacks are utilizing those side positions, even on the cover wing instruction, maybe your center mids will start making more middle runs because those positions are being occupied, right? So again, this completely comes down to personal preference. I didn't like my cam on stay forward. I like him on comeback and defense because, again, when I build up the play with the possession-based playstyle, when I win the ball in defense, I like that Dembele is close to me so that I can lay the ball off and then transition on the attack. Like I said, the strikers that come back in defense, they do not go past a certain point, a line on the pitch, because that's what EA did last year and they kind of implemented it this year. So when you have these players on comeback and defense, which is this one right here, on comeback defense with balanced instructions, I have to rely on their attacking AI to be good and to see the space on the pitch for me to be able to attack in certain ways, right? Really like Ansu Fati and João Felix as my strikers. It works really well for me personally, just because of what they offer on the pitch in regards to good attacking AI, a little bit of pace with Ansu Fati, great shooting presence, and then João Felix with his 5-star skill moves. Although sometimes sluggish, you know, he works really well because João Felix has default characteristics of getting in behind and drifting wide. So when you have two strikers that are always constantly moving this way, it actually creates this gap in the middle because the defense starts to split like this. And Ansu Fati is very smart and in the striker position sees the space really nicely, right? So that's how it works for the transition in regards to attacking from the defense, right? The comeback and defense works well for me because of the possession-based playstyle. As I push forward, thank you so much for the sub. As I push forward, I have these guys on comeback in the fence, so it works with my cam and my strikers going on the attack, right? So that's pretty much it in regards to the 4-1-2-2, in regards to how you want to line up. Oh, almost forgot about the strikers, right? So strikers really depends on what you want your players to do. Sometimes, right, when your cam and your center mids and CDMs are really based on playing through the middle, sometimes it's actually ideal to have your strikers to drift wide and get in behind, because when they drift wide and get in behind, attacking AI this year will make them go back into the middle and see the empty space to attack, right? I personally like when my default characteristics of a player like João Felix does that by default, because when he drifts wide and he starts to cut inside, it works really well with Ansu Fati because Ansu Fati sticks to his position really well, but he finds the space really nicely as well, which just makes the game incredibly fun for me in regards to using him up top. So again, guys, the tactics are very based off of what you want your players to do. I'm just giving you a rundown of how each position influences the way that your team moves in the attack, in the defense, and so on and so forth, right? So very important stuff. I think that the team press tactic is very important this year as well. Timing it to perfection when using the 4-4-2, 4-1-2-2, or any formation is also incredibly important in regards to attacking and defending in this game. So thank you guys so much for watching the video. That's for the 4-1-2-2. Hopefully you guys did enjoy it. I will catch you guys for the next one. Peace out, dudes. Love you guys.